The Necklace of Princess Fiorimonde by Mary de Morgan. Once there lived a king whose wife was dead, but who had a most beautiful daughter. So beautiful that everyone thought she must be good as well, instead of which the princess was really very wicked, and practiced witchcraft and black magic, which she had learned from an old witch who lived in a hut on the side of a lonely mountain. This old witch was wicked and hideous, and no one but the king's daughter knew that she lived there. But at night, when everyone else was asleep, the princess, whose name was Fiorimonde, used to visit her by stealth to learn sorcery. It was only the witch's arts which had made Fiorimonde so beautiful that there was no one like her in the world, and in return the princess helped her with all her tricks, and never told anyone she was there. The time came when the king began to think he should like his daughter to marry, so he summoned his council and said, "We have no son to reign after our death, so we had best seek for a suitable prince to marry to our royal daughter, and then, when we are too old, he shall be king in our stead." And all the council said he was very wise, and it would be well for the princess to marry. So heralds were sent to all the neighboring kings and princes to say that the king would choose a husband for the princess who should be king after him. But when Fiorimonde heard this, she wept with rage, for she knew quite well that if she had a husband, he would find out how she went to visit the old witch and would stop her practicing magic, and then she would lose her beauty. When night came and everyone in the palace was fast asleep, the princess went to her bedroom window and softly opened it. Then she took from her pocket a handful of peas and held them out of the window and chirruped low, and there flew down from the roof a small brown bird and sat upon her wrist and began to eat the peas. No sooner had it swallowed them that it began to grow and grow and grow till it was so big that the princess could not hold it, but let it stand on the windowsill, and still it grew and grew and grew till it was as large as an ostrich. Then the princess climbed out of the window and seated herself on the bird's back, and at once it flew straight away over the tops of the trees till it came to the mountain where the old witch dwelt, and stopped in front of the door of her hut. The princess jumped off and muttered some words through the keyhole when a croaking voice from within called, "Why do you come tonight? Have I not told you I wished to be left alone for 13 nights? Why do you disturb me?" "But I beg of you to let me in," said the princess, "for I am in trouble and want your help." "Come in then," said the voice, and the door flew open, and the princess trod into the hut, in the middle of which, wrapped in a grey cloak which almost hid her, sat the witch. Princess Fiorimonde sat down near her and told her her story, how the king wished her to marry and had sent word to the neighboring princes that they might make offers for her. "This is truly bad hearing," croaked the witch, "but we shall beat them yet, and you must deal with each prince as he comes. Would you like them to become dogs, to come at your call, or birds, to fly in the air and sing of your beauty? Or will you make them all into beads, the beads of such a necklace as never woman wore before, so that they may rest upon your neck, and you may take them with you always?" "The necklace, the necklace!" cried the princess, clapping her hands with joy. "That will be best of all, to sling them upon a string and wear them around my throat. Little will the courtiers know whence come my new jewels." "But this is a dangerous play," quoth the witch, "for unless you are very careful, you yourself may become a bead and hang upon the string with the others, and there you will remain till someone cuts the string and draws you off." "Nay, never fear," said the princess. "I will be careful. Only tell me what to do, and I will have great princes and kings to adorn me, and all their greatness shall not help them." Then the witch dipped her hand into a black bag which stood on the ground beside her, and drew out a long gold thread. The ends were joined together, but no one could see the joins, and however much you pulled, it would not break. It would easily go over Fiorimonde's head, and the witch slipped it on her neck, saying, "Now mind, while this hangs here you are safe enough, but if once you join your fingers around the string, you too will meet the fate of your lovers, and hang upon it yourself. As for the kings and princes who would marry you, all you have to do is to make them close their fingers around the chain, and at once they will be strung upon it as bright, hard beads, and there they shall remain till it is cut and they drop off." "This is really delightful," cried the princess, "and I am already quite impatient for the first to come, that I may try." "And now," said the witch, "since you are here, and there is yet time, we will have a dance, and I will summon the guests." So saying, she took from a corner a drum and a pair of drumsticks, and going to the door, began to beat upon it. It made a terrible rattling. In a moment came flying through the air all sorts of forms. There were little dark elves with long tails, and goblins who chattered and laughed, and other witches who rode on broomsticks. There was one wicked fairy in the form of a large cat with bright green eyes, and another came sliding in like a long, shining viper. Then, when all had arrived, the witch stopped drumming, and going to the middle of the hut, stamped on the floor, and a trap door opened in the ground. The old witch stepped through it, and led the way down a narrow dark passage to a large underground chamber, and all her strange guests followed, and here they all danced and made merry in a terrible way. But at first sound of cock-crow, all the guests disappeared with a whiff, and the princess hastened up the dark passage again, and out of the hut, to where her big bird still waited for her, and mounting its back, she flew home in a trice. Then when she had stepped in at her bedroom window, she poured into a cup from a small black bottle a few drops of magic water, and gave it to the bird to drink, and as it sipped, it grew smaller and smaller, till at last it had quite regained its natural size, and hopped onto the roof as before, and the princess shut her window, and got into bed, and fell asleep, and no one knew of her strange journey, or where she had been. Next day, Fiorimonde declared to her father the king that she was quite willing to wed any prince he should fix upon as a husband for her, at which he was much pleased, and soon after informed her that a young king was coming from over the sea to be her husband. He was king of a large rich country, and would take back his bride with him to his home. He was called King Pierrot. Great preparations were made for his arrival, and the princess was decked in her finest array to greet him. And when he came, all the courtiers said, "This is truly a proper husband for our beautiful princess," for he was strong and handsome, with black hair and eyes like sloes. King Pierrot was delighted with Fiorimonde's beauty, and was happy as the day is long, and all things went merrily till the evening before the marriage. A great feast was held, at which the princess looked lovelier than ever, dressed in a red gown, the colour of the inside of a rose. But she wore no jewels, nor ornaments of any kind, save one shining gold string round her milk-white throat. When the feast was done, the princess stepped from her golden chair at her father's side, and walked softly into the garden, and stood under an elm tree looking at the shining moon. In a few moments, King Pierrot followed her, and stood beside her, looking at her and wondering at her beauty. "Tomorrow then, my sweet princess, you will be my queen, and share all I possess. What gift would you wish me to give you on our wedding day?" "I would have a necklace, wrought of the finest gold and jewels to be found, and just the length of this gold cord which I wear around my throat," answered Princess Fiorimonde. "Why do you wear that cord?" asked King Pierrot. "It has no jewel nor ornament about it." "Nay, but there is no cord like mine in all the world," cried Fiorimonde, and her eyes sparkled wickedly as she spoke. "It is light as a feather, but stronger than an iron chain. Take it in both hands, and try to break it, that you may see how strong it is." And King Pierrot took the cord in both hands to pull it hard, but no sooner were his fingers closed around it than he vanished like a puff of smoke, and on the cord appeared a bright, beautiful bead, so bright and beautiful as was never bead before, clear as crystal, but shining with all colors, green, blue, and gold. Princess Fiorimonde gazed down at it and laughed aloud.